Hello, everyone. It's Mark here again. I'm the founder of the Arts and Culture Network. We're over 150,000 strong now across our 8 LinkedIn groups, which is keeping us busy. And of course, I don't get to meet everyone, but when I do, it's a pleasure. So Simon has joined me. Simon O'Rourke has joined me from Wrexham today. Simon is one of our full members, for which many thanks, because we're entirely member funded. And we're going to have some fun in a moment. I'm going to create Simon's fantasy cultural year from the answers to 10 easy questions, and there are no wrong answers, you'll be pleased to know. Simon, thank you. It's great to see you again. Would you like to say hi to everyone and tell us a little bit about the work you're doing, how you happen to be doing it, and where your passions lie and what your superpowers might be?
Well, I'm not sure about superpowers, but I'm a sculptor. I'm a wood sculptor. I grew up in Liverpool, moved to Wrexham to go to university to study illustration. So after specializing in children's book illustration, I kind of really loved that whimsical kind of fantasy world that you could create with illustrations, and I was always drawn into books, and drawn into the story as part of that. But what happened with me was a bit of a happy accident. I finished my degree, I needed work, and after a short spell helping out a friend who'd just started a tree surgery business, I ended up really enjoying the outdoor work, learned how to use chainsaws, and learned a lot about the biology of trees and how they grow, how they react, and then saw somebody carving with a chainsaw, and it was my light bulb moment, should we say, and I ended up giving it a go and really enjoyed it. Really enjoyed being outdoors. Enjoyed the expressiveness of the chainsaw, which isn't something that normally kind of gets put together, but I find the chainsaw a really expressive tool. It cuts as fast as I can think, and you end up being able to create in a very sketchy kind of style almost.
It's
Uh,
fantastic. I'm going to share your website with everyone so that we can have a look at some of the work, if that's okay.
no problem.
Um, where are we? There we go. Perhaps you can talk us through some bits. Where would be good to go?
Right. So if you head over to probably head to, oh gosh, I think the portfolio is probably a good place to start.
Um,
If we start in the human form section.
okay.
Let's have a look at this. So it's, there's this is a very small snapshot, and actually, I have realised how outdated it is in relation to some of the other work that I've done. Um,
Is there more recent on Instagram?
there probably is. Yes, actually, there definitely is on Instagram.
Let's have a look. I think I'm
So,
following it already here. No, no.
hey, excellent,
I
great
am
stuff.
now. There we go.
Yeah, right. Okay, so if we scroll down a little way, let's just take the figure of the lady, bottom right hand corner there.
Yeah.
So this is one of the things where I've really discovered a real passion for sort of classical field sculpture, and uh, creating things that have a bit of a narrative to them. So
Hmm.
with this piece, it was part of a triplet of different ladies in a kind of 1920s style. It was in Switzerland. It was a commission I had over in Switzerland. It was carving trees that were in situ, and there was so many different levels to this. But it's a really good example of the way I think in a lot of ways. So apart from just loving that sort of classical style, creating sculptures that have a feel of part of a narrative. So we've got the faraway look in her eyes. We've got that sort of very slight faint smile. You don't really know what she's thinking,
Mm.
and uh, the the depth in the piece is actually that this was created from a triple stemmed Western red cedar tree. I was reflecting a style from the 1910s, 1920s, and having counted back the actual growth rings in the timber, that tree was actually planted around the time I was trying to reflect. So you
That's
got
wonderful.
so many different levels and layers in there, and it was in a particular part of Switzerland that this Art Nouveau style called steel sapin was invented, and it reflected that as well. So I
That's
like to
great.
really tell stories.
I love it. What you've one of the things I felt when I looked at this is that you've made something hard appear soft,
Yes,
and I
yes,
love that. Well, there's lots here, so if you'd like to find more of Simon's work, it's Simon O'Rourke, Instagram.com/Simon O'Rourke. There we go. That will find it.
yeah.
Excellent. This will be great fun for people to have a playthrough. Excellent. Well, wherever this appears, we'll include that and other examples of your work. So that's brilliant. Thank you for that brief tour. Right, we're going to have some fun now. We're going to create a fantasy cultural year for you. So I need to place you somewhere in the world, and to do that, I'm going to ask you if you have a favorite building.
Oh, yes. I I really, really struggle with a question like this because there's so many different eras, so many different styles. But when it comes down to it, what takes me back to childhood, what takes me back to um, play and excitement is a castle. So I'm going to go with is it Castle Liechtenstein or Liechtenstein Castle? It's one of the it's a castle that is built into the side of a cliff. There's so many hidden passages. There's areas where you feel like you're on solid ground, but you walk out and oh, here we go. Yes. So you walk out onto walkways that just open out into this massive vista and just so many little bits and pieces, narrow passageways, the feel of the age of a place like this. It's got numerous different architectural styles applied to it. I think
Mhm.
it was in the 1200s was when it first began, but you just get that real kind of um fairy tale feel when you look at a place like this.
Yeah,
And
that's wonderful. I love that. Right, so that's where we're going to be in Liechtenstein.
okay.
Um, and I think the capital is Liechtenstein, isn't it? It's a small
Yeah.
country, isn't it? Nestling between, where is it, Austria and Luxembourg or something, I think.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've been there. I was there for a concert just before Christmas with the orchestra that I was working in, and they had a strange thing that happens on the run up to Christmas. The children are allowed to beat their adults on the head with rubber things. It's crazy, you know. The timpanist in the orchestra hadn't heard about this, and he reacted quite violently to being hit over the head until he realized everybody was being hit over the head.
Wow. Okay.
Anyway, okay, so I'd like you to imagine you're sitting at a pavement cafe in Liechtenstein looking
Yeah.
up at the castle. Okay.
Right.
It's 6 p.m. on a Friday, it's warm, it's June, and it's sunny, and there's a drink on your right. What would I find there?
You would definitely find a cold beer.
Excellent. And a book. I'd find a book on your left. It could be your favorite book, it could be a book that's been with you all your life, or it could be a recent discovery or something you're reading now. What would I find there?
Ooh, that's such a difficult question. It could well be a I think, to be honest, it might end up being a Terry Pratchett book, a Discworld book, because I that's they're the ones I know that I can keep coming back and rereading.
Yeah.
it would be a toss-up between that and Lord of the Rings, but
Yeah, I think we're both Lord of the Rings fans, but
yeah.
I love my favorite quote was the one based at the Opera House, the book at the Opera House.
Yes.
You've when the what's his name? The kind of mayor chap, he's got a special name.
Better the patrician.
The patrician,
Yeah.
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 He said opera, you put money in, you get opera out.
Yeah.
And he used to read scores of music, but he wouldn't let people play them because
That's right. Yes.
he can hear it in his head better. Love
Uh,
it.
the
Yeah.
characters are just amazing in the Discworld.
Oh, they are. And there's what is it? A turtle
Yes.
standing on four elephants or something, isn't it? Or the
Yeah.
elephants like
Four elephants with the Discworld on their back standing
yeah.
on the
Yeah.
giant
Rincewind, what a name.
wind. Yes, absolutely. Yeah.
Excellent. Okay. Yeah, you can have the color of magic or sitting there next to you. Okay, now you're feeling quite pleased with yourself because you've come from a meeting inside the Liechtenstein castle with the members of a wealthy family foundation based in Liechtenstein. And they've seen the work that you do, and they're passionate about the wood carving.
Mhm.
And they'd like to hire you for a year, okay, at great expense, first class all the way. Friends and family can come and visit you whenever you want. They'd like you to travel the world and create a kind of league table of wood carving,
Okay.
national league table of wood. You'll get to find some incredible people doing incredible work in unusual places so that you can put that guide together. There, all you have to do is sign on the dotted line to take the money and the assignment, and decide where you're going first. In what city or country would you want to start this?
Ooh. Well, having done a lot of international events and competitions, I've actually got a huge amount of friends around the world who do this kind of thing. So, um,
Perfect. Perfect.
I I think if I'm in, oh, if I'm starting in Austria, I'm just trying to think. I would want to work my way east and head that way. So I think I'd probably head to. I've got so many good carving friends in Germany that I think it'd be rude not to start there.
Okay. Where,
um,
whereabouts in Germany?
so we're going to head first of all over to over to. I'm going to try and do this in a way that we get different styles of carving as well, not just same old, same old. So, really creative carver near Erfurt in Germany, Florian Lindner. Um, he has a real eye for caricature, and he's done some great caricature pieces of world leaders and things like that. And he's just got a real kind of feel for it. So I think we'd head there first. Uh,
Okay. You're on the plane.
yeah.
The steward brings you a cold beer
Okay.
and a note from the family foundation who'd like to experiment on you a little bit while you're doing this.
Right.
And they've asked you to limit your musical listening to one very specific type of music for 12 months,
Ooh.
to the exclusion of all else. What would you choose?
Really good question. Um, I think in terms of that's so difficult. In terms of inspiration, I think I would go for an entire back catalogue of Hans Zimmer.
Oh, oh yes, absolutely. Yes, no question. That's a wonderful choice. Love it. I think we talked about this last time. I think Interstellar's the only movie I watch for the music.
Yes, yes, absolutely. just I mean just the collection of BBC Planet Earth, Blue Planet, all of those tracks are
Yeah,
just absolutely, inspiring,
yeah.
absolutely inspiring.
And the noise, it's more of a noise and a sound. The latest Dune soundtrack is
Yes, I've not had the pleasure yet. I really need to get onto that because I'm really
yeah.
looking forward to seeing that.
I saw the last time I went to a live show, they did that. It was
Mm,
incredible. It's sort of like that screaming, screeching. It's incredible sound. It was
yeah.
fantastic. Excellent. Okay, Hans Zimmer it is then. Now we're going to hop again. Where are we going next from Germany?
We will head over to oh gosh, hang on. Where are we? How many stops am I allowed, or is it just open?
We'll probably do 3 or 4. So you might want to go.
Right.
You can go anywhere you
Okay.
like.
I'm gonna head to Japan from here then.
Fantastic.
uh,
Okay.
so I'm gonna go up to Hokkaido and see my friend Hikaru Kodama, um, and uh, spend some time with him. He is, I would say, he's closest to me in style of a lot of my friends. He's got an incredible eye for the human form. He's got a really good eye for movement and composition, and yeah, he's a really fascinating guy.
Excellent. Okay. Now he's going to take you out to a dance performance.
Mm,
Okay. This is where the magic wand, the time machine, and the Star Trek transporter come in.
okay.
Because you don't have to stay in Hokkaido. You can go anywhere. So I don't know if you're a dance performance fan, but if I could put anything on a stage in front of you for a couple of hours that was dance based, it doesn't have to be Japanese culture.
Hmm.
It can be historical. It can be any dancers, living or not, and any dance style. What would you want on the stage?
Um, that's a really good question. Really difficult. I think I'd go more for something active and uh, exciting in terms of lots of movement. So I'd probably go more down the lines of um, maybe more down the lines of street dance
Mm,
than 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 ballet. It's just you get. I've seen a few different ballet performances, and as much as I like it, it's not active enough a lot of
mm.
the time for me, and it's so yeah, I'd go down the lines of street dance, I think.
Okay. Well, it just so happens that the World Street Dancing Championships are in Hokkaido. At the,
Yeah.
there we go. We'll go to that. Excellent. And what about dinner afterwards? You don't have to stay Japanese. You can choose any national cuisine you like.
Okay. I'm I'm gonna go Italian
Nice.
with
That's
this.
nice.
I'm gonna go Italian. I'm gonna go quite simple flavors. Um, a a traditional carbonara in the way it should be made, not with cream, with just eggs,
Mm,
um, and plenty of garlic, black olives. Um, yeah, probably a nice glass of Montepulciano d'Abruzzo red
nice.
or something along those lines. And yeah, I'd definitely go for that. I'd have um, a caprese salad with it, and you know, plenty of olive oil, balsamic, pesto flavors, lots of basil, that kind of thing.
And I love it. My mouth is watering now. I haven't had any lunch, so the mouth is watering. My recent discovery was black garlic.
Oh,
You
do you
can
know what
only it's about 4 pounds a clove.
Yeah.
No, a kind of whatever.
Yeah, ball. Yeah.
Yeah. Waitrose.
Right.
Yeah. It's like it's got the texture of licorice. It's entirely black.
Wow.
And it smells like truffles a bit.
Oh wow.
It's incredible. I used it in some meatballs recently, and it's incredible. The smell, it's really wonderful. Yeah, give it a try. Excellent. Right. So we've done it now. Let's hop again from Tokyo. Let's go somewhere else.
Let's head over to I'm gonna go. Oh, not Chile. Oh, what's the other one?
Peru,
No, near there.
Argentina.
Oh gosh, I'm just going to be.
Brazil.
My mind's gone completely blank on where he's from. Let me. I'm going to pull a map up because it's going to help me here. Because
I'll do the same thing.
Right. Okay. So we've gone over to Japan. We're going to head down the coast of South America, Ecuador.
Ecuador.
Went
Okay.
to Ecuador to see my friend Ricardo Velachis. He lives in Germany at the moment. Well, he has done for a long time, but he's from Ecuador, and yeah, he's an incredibly bouncy, energetic 70-year-old who's still using the chainsaw.
Brilliant. Love it.
And, he's got this kind of wonderful style of that's very, very based on the traditional sort of carving styles of South America, and it's really, really nice to see.
Excellent. That's a great choice. So we're in Ecuador, and it's sport day in Ecuador.
Okay.
With breakdancing in the Olympics. Some sport is clearly performance art. So what sport, if you could have anything for 2 hours, what would you watch?
Oh, never been a big sports fan, but um, I like the fact that things like BMXing and rollerblading and extreme sports like that have kind of made their way into into the Olympics and things like that. So I quite like a bit of BMX.
Okay.
Yeah, let's go with that.
Yeah, there's an extreme sports championship in Ecuador. There we go. We
Yeah.
can go to that.
Excellent.
Now let's hop again. Where would you go next?
Oh, right. So let's head north now. We'll go to Pennsylvania. In fact, no, we'll go to New Jersey. We'll go and see my friend Brett McLean, who, again, very eclectic style, real eye for design and crazy ideas for sculptures. So
Fantastic.
spend a bit of time with him and his family.
Excellent. We're in New Jersey.
Yeah.
Yeah, excellent. Now there's a new art gallery in New Jersey. It's digitally enhanced, and you can put on a pair of virtual reality glasses and step into the work of a famous artist.
Oh.
And it becomes three-dimensional. It's animated, and you can walk around and see things that the AI has put in that was on the back of that we didn't see in the 2D original. So which famous artist's work would you enjoy stepping into in that way?
Oh, um, there's a there's a few. Ah, it's between impressionists and uh the Art Nouveau era.
Mhm.
And I think I'm going to I think I'm leaning towards I think I'm leaning towards Monet, actually.
Okay.
Um yeah, I visited the gardens, Monet's garden in Givenchy, and the yeah, just it's such a, I mean, apart from the fact that there's quite often a lot of tourists there, it's
Yeah.
a really lovely kind of area just to wander around in, and but to but to see the way he captured it with those different colors,
Yeah.
I just really like the idea of that.
That's a great choice. I love that. Um, Monet, yeah, just had pulled a few up. The garden and the bridge over.
Yes,
Wonderful. Yeah. So you get to walk across that bridge.
yes,
Yeah.
excellent.
um, Now we're nearly there. So you're going to travel the world and continue to do your research. There's a TED talk when you get back. There's a book deal. There is a TV show, and then after you're back, there is a global university lecture tour to do. Okay, based
Okay.
on your take on the league table of. I know it's comparing apples with pears, but you know what nations are right up there when it comes to respect for and appreciation of wood sculpture. So, but before you go on this, and I'll go home, I'm going to give you a hero lunch. You can have lunch with anyone from history,
Okay. Oh, um,
living or not. It could be somebody present day, so that's
hmm.
fine. Who would you go for?
Oh, that's that's a really tough one. Um, Gosh, think I would probably, I don't know. That I'm really, really struggling with that one. Really struggling.
I I've got an idea for you.
Go on.
Michelangelo,
Oh, yes. Yes, absolutely.
because
Yeah.
given the work that you do and the talent there,
Yeah.
there's a great documentary about I think it was him and Da Vinci, wasn't it? They were contemporaries,
Yes, they were. Yes.
and the slight rivalry between them.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
great.
Oh, the Renaissance series. They did
Yeah,
three
that's it.
episodes on BBC. Yeah. Oh no, it was incredible that. Really
Yeah.
enjoyed that.
So there you go.
Yes, absolutely. Yes. Yeah.
Hero Lunch um, has kicked off your fantasy cultural year. Now you're going to go and meet all of the other friends you've got around the world, and then come back and do the TED talk and all of the other bits. Have you enjoyed the start of your fantasy cultural year, Simon?
Yeah, it sounds amazing. Where do I sign?
I know people have joked with me in the past. You should start a travel agency, Mark, and make this possible. Yeah. So, excellent. Simon, thank you so much for being a good sport and doing this. Wherever this appears, there'll be links to you, examples of your work. We'll be on Instagram with it, and it's such a visual medium, so we'll go on a Spotify video podcast as well. So But it just remains for me to thank you again for being one of our members. We have BNI in common as well. We're both
Yes,
members of
indeed.
BNI, so we're furious networkers most of the time. Simon, thank you so much. Please don't dart off, but for the time being, thank you so much for being such a good sport and sharing your fantasy cultural year.
Pleasure. Thank you very much.